welcome to another video. Today I am baking again, but there is no waffle maker in sight, you'll be pleased to hear. This is just good old-fashioned baking, and of course there is food around. I can feel a spaniel right here. Willow, there's nothing for you. This has got raisins in and you can't have them. Go away. So today I'm going to be making that Easter favourite hot cross buns, and I love them. You walk through the supermarket at the moment and you just hit with the smell of hot cross buns. They are delicious, and even if you don't like them, you could tweak these so that they haven't got the spices in, or tweak them so they don't have raisins, or whichever you want to do, because it's starting off with, I'm going to whisper the word so you don't all switch off, but it's healthier, because as you know, I'm a WW coach and I lost a lot of weight, but I love food and I don't want to put the weight back on, but I also want to eat the food, and I don't have to choose between those two. I can do both. So this is something that's been taking the healthy communities and that by storm, and it is a dough, but unlike traditional doughs, this doesn't actually contain any yeast. So there's no raising agent except for we're using self-raising flour instead. So there's no yeast, and you can make this gluten-free just with simple gluten-free self-raising flour instead, and it's entirely up to you how you tailor it, or you make it yours, because you cannot go wrong. So let's get started. Okay, so first off, self-raising flour, and this in here I'm using 150 grams. So for those of you in the community, that's works out to 15 points, but I'm not going to point everything as I go along. I'm going to put the points values and calorie value in the comments below. Okay, so 150 grams of self-raising flour, and then I've mixed together in here a teaspoon of mixed spice and a teaspoon of sweet cinnamon. Now, sweet cinnamon hasn't got any sugar in, and I only recently discovered this. I was using just regular cinnamon, a really good quality cinnamon, because it's one of those things you can use sweet or savoury, but this one was marketed as sweet cinnamon, and I thought, well, I'll try that. How can it be very different? But it actually is. It's the variety of the cassia plant that makes it sweeter. But I digress. So then all the dry ingredients going together. I'm also adding a tablespoon of stevia. So this is a non-aspartame based sweetener. Okay. And so those are what we're trying to cut out, aspartame or aspartame, trying to have a bit of a cleaner eating approach, then this is one for you as well. And then I'm adding a whole grated apple. Oh dear, I seem to have grated the stalk into it. I really do grate a whole apple. I don't faff around putting it into segments and then grating it. I just grate the whole thing, skin and all, so that goes in. And then the other pointed ingredient in this is I'm using mixed dried fruit to get that traditional Easter taste, but you can just use raisins, you can omit them entirely and just have like appley, cinnamony buns. But this here is, how many grams? Oh gosh, I just worked out the points and didn't work out the grams. Oh no, I did. This is half a cup of dried fruit, which works out, again, I'll put it in the comments below for grams. This is my first baking from scratch video, so we'll get there. So then you want to just mix up all these dryish ingredients, so they're well incorporated. It really is a super quick recipe. And then the magic ingredient in this, which is going to make it start poofing up and raising, I'm going to get to in a second, because there won't be hot cross buns without the cross on the top, or hot. Now you can leave this part out if you want to and just have them as sweet buns, but for Easter I thought, well, why not? So for this we've got I've just got some normal plain flour, and I'm going to put in 1/2 of that. So there we go. So that in there is 40 grams of plain flour. No, it isn't. It's 20 grams of plain flour. Sorry. And a couple of teaspoons of water. And you literally want to make this into a paste. That's all it is just a paste. And you can pipe it. Traditionally, it's piped on top of the buns when they're made before they go in the oven. or you can do what I'm going to do, which is to roll it out into little thins and then lay them on the top. So, oh, that's not a nice sound. I might have to edit that bit out. It doesn't bother me sounds like that, but I will show you. I'm using teaspoon. Teaspoons are one of my favourite things. This sounds crazy, but I really love a teaspoon. These are so lovely. How embarrassing. It's the simple things, and teaspoons are one of mine. So when you go out for a meal and they bring you like a massive spoon for a dessert, and I'm really little, can I have a teaspoon please? And they look at me like I'm a little bit gone out and a bit crazy. But I'm like, oh, I just want to savour it with really little bites, and then it makes sense in my head anyway. But my dad's exactly the same. So we just like, oh look, I've got a little mouth, I like a little teaspoon. Anyway, I'm going to put that a little bit more flour to make that a bit drier. But I'm going to leave that now till we're ready. Bring this beautiful dough. It smells so good, this mix of dry ingredients already. And the reason I haven't got that, I didn't finish these before doing that, is because self-raising flour activates straight away. It doesn't need to prove like with yeast. So as soon as you add the next couple of ingredients, it will start activating and start raising, and then if you don't cook that, it gets tough. So that's why we're doing it last thing. And then the next ingredient here is I really should have written this down. My head is so rubbish. I thought, no, I look really unprofessional reading off a script. But I should have put it up behind the camera, big numbers, how much of it I have. But there is 90 grams, 100 grams of yogurt. Thought that'd be easy to remember. Really easy. 150 it is actually, because it's equal amounts of flour. 150 grams of yogurt. And I'm using a thick Greek style yogurt. It's got a really sort of citrusy tang to it, but it hasn't got that. It's because it's drained, it's kind of got less of a like milk acidic-y tang to it. So that should be enough. If your dough is looking a bit dry, you can just add a little bit of water, a teaspoon at a time. If you're not using Greek thick yogurt, then you would probably need less of it, because it's going to be more liquidy. And again, if you use something like quark, it won't have the same activation on the flour. I don't know if it would it? Has it got that acidity? Probably. So you would need water though, because it's quite thick. So we've got now a lovely, lovely, very sticky dough. Okay, so now I'm going to bring in my pre-greased baking sheet. Bits of apple everywhere. You can find out, is there a way of grating an apple with a regular food grater that doesn't mean it goes everywhere? So this recipe is going to make 6 buns. So, and I'm going to get absolutely covered doing this. But easy way to divide, make sure they're all the same. You can weigh each bit, but I divide it into 2, and then divide each 2 sections into 3. That way you aren't trying to guess 6 and you end up with, they get smaller and smaller and smaller as you go down them. That's how I make meatballs. The first ones are like boulders, and then they get smaller and smaller and smaller. So just gonna now lay these out evenly spaced onto the, even then I've still got 2 fairly tiny ones. Here we go. But because it's so wet, you can sort of steal a bit off one that's not quite as big. Now if you made this a bit drier, it would be more of a traditional bread sort of dough. Now I use the basic 2 ingredient dough without all the apple and the spices and the raisins in. You can use that as a pizza base, you can use it as a dumplings if you make it with different savoury bits in and then steam it. It's a great recipe. So I'm going to go, oh no I'm not, I'm going to put this on. I was like, I'm going to clean up first, but you know, this might help get all the dough off my hands. So I'm going to move that right out of the way. Okay. My kids absolutely adore baking with me, the goblins. and it's a lot of fun, but they do not like getting dirty. Well, one of them doesn't like getting dirty hands. No, Willow, you can't have any. This isn't really working out because it's just sticking. I'm just going to roll this out, clear a little bit of space. Get rid of all my pots and pans so you can see what I'm doing. And then I've got a bread cutter. I'm going to cut this into 6 again. Okay. And then that's just because it's easier. It's easier to roll out a small amount of dough into a really thin strip. I mean, with my really sticky hands, it's not easy to roll out any amount of dough. I definitely should have got these clean first. And then I'm just going to lay it over the top in a cross. So just 2 pieces over the top in a cross, okay? Ta-da! And there is the little bun. So I'm now going to go and wash my hands and finish the rest of these, and then I'll be back in 2 seconds. Okay, so I have finished the crosses on the top now, and actually it was really easier with clean hands, unsurprisingly, but they were still slightly damp, my hands, when I put the crosses on, and actually that really helped. So I'd keep a little cup of water nearby so that if it starts sticking, you can just dampen your fingers and put them on. And now these little beauties are ready to go in the oven. So the oven is preheated to 180 or 165 for a fan oven, and then that would be what gas mark 6, and then that's going to go into the oven for 12 to 15 minutes. I think it's 325 degrees Fahrenheit if you're watching across the pond. So I will put these in and be back in a minute. Okay, so it was a second for you, but it's been 15 minutes for me, plus a bit of cooling time. And these little buns are now finished and cooked, and they smell so good. They're so crunchy on the outside, and you still can't have any, dog. No, you can't have any. Go away. I'm going to make dog treats one video. That'll be fun. And she can actually have something. Be really shocked. She's going to try this side as well. No. So I'm going to cut one open, and I've got a teaspoon of butter that I've measured out ready, so I know I don't slather it on too badly, even though I'd like to. And then, yeah, before I put that butter on, they are fat free. You don't have to put butter on them. I'm just gonna, which way should I break? I'll break it that way so you can see it's bready and not too doughy on the inside. It's cooked all the way through, and it is packed with fruit and cinnamon. You can smell that. Oh, it smells so good. So I didn't bring a butter knife, so I'm just going to use a sharp knife. Didn't even use the sharp knife for cutting, but it's they're cool enough that the butter isn't going to melt in, and they are just absolutely delicious. I'm going to try a bit now. I'm just going to take little bites. Hey, Willow, you can't have any. No. Go away. Go away. Now, I'm not going to lie. They are not like a breaded hot cross bun. They are really, really, really close. You're being a pain in the bum now. Go and lie down. They're really, really close because they're light and fluffy. And you are just going to have to find a new home. Dog for free. Good home. She only needs feeding all the time and walking the rest of the time. Get down there. Sorry. And but it's the smell of that cinnamon, that mixed spice. That's what you smell. That's what you can smell when you just think, oh my god, I really want a hot cross bun. And for me, that cold, like a bit of butter on it, really makes it. They are 6 points each, and I will link you to the full recipe and the calorie value below, should you just be calorie counting. And absolutely scrummy, delicious. We'll be making these again at Easter, but the 2 ingredient dough we'll be making a return in other formats, so check out some videos and look out for them. Hit the subscribe button and send us some love by dinging that bell. Leave some comments below. I love to get your feedback, see suggestions, something you'd like me to make next, how you use your 2 ingredient dough if you've already tried it, and I will see you again in the next video. Bye.